something that came up in a discussion the other day. Oil and gas is the new asbestos was thrown about because it looks like oil and gas investments becoming a bit toxic to be associated with. Are you seeing that?
Well, I think it depends. If the answer is we want to meet the energy needs of the future at the lowest possible cost to consumers while taking out all the CO2, it couldn't be more wrong to call oil and gas the asbestos. There's nothing wrong with oil and gas. What's wrong is the CO2. And we're going to take out all the CO2 from the energy system, for a cost below $70 a ton. And in the process, you'd still end up with 80 million barrels a day of oil and 400 TCF a year of gas. If, the motivation is some, other ideology about, wanting to open the door to hydrogen because you really love hydrogen, or wanting to make energy more expensive for people, then I don't know, but that's not my game. I don't understand, where that motivation comes from. I'll tell you a story that, I heard the other day that's really stuck in my mind, which is, a company in the new energy space. And I was talking with somebody very senior in the company about their technology. And I said to them, look, I've modeled it and I just can't get it, to the point of being cost competitive with decarbonizing natural gas using nature-based solutions. It's still, order of magnitude more expensive. And he said, yeah, no, that's right. And that kind of shocked me, because normally you ask a question like that hoping they'll tell you where your numbers are wrong, or where your costs are too high. He said, no, that's right. Our plan isn't to be competitive. Our plan is just to lobby so hard that our technology is passed into law and adopted, even though it's more expensive. And I find that a really shocking thing if that's happening at a large scale, because I don't think that's in the interest of consumers. And it's why I feel so passionately about getting the numbers out there in front of people, so that if we are going to back a horse, we can say, what is the cost of that horse? And not have anyone kind of twist the facts or give us hype instead of numbers and realism.
That's fascinating, because I guess actually the economics from the consumer's perspective tend to win in the end, because you can't avoid the realities when you have such a large consumer base.
Well, let's look at it like this. Okay, here are some numbers that I find really interesting. If we talk about heat, right? So we all heat our homes, and the typical heating bill around the developed world, that's around $800 a year for a household. The lowest cost option I can find for decarbonizing heat is to heat your house with natural gas in an efficient boiler that gets 95% thermal efficiency. Insulate your house properly, avoid leaking gas in the supply chain, and then use nature-based solutions to generate carbon credits and carbon offset that natural gas. And the incremental cost for your household of doing that would be something like $50 per year. I'll pay $50 a year. I think we'll all on this call pay $50 a year. Let's look at some alternatives. If we were going to do this by something like a solar water heater on the roof of our house, or going to heat pumps or district heating, these things can work. They can be cost effective, but it's probably something between $100 and $300, incremental on our average household heating bill. And they don't work in isolation. You still need the natural gas, because the solar water heater doesn't always give you the solar water heat. And then you look at the really high cost options like biogas, or going 100% renewables, or going to hydrogen, that you pay in your household heating bill. And I just think these numbers are so important, because if our politicians pass laws that say you've got to go to green hydrogen, and the average household in the UK suddenly has a $2,000 per year higher energy bill, I just don't think that's the right answer. And And so maybe it might be the right answer for some other reason, but we've got to be really clear on the economics, because that's how they look.
Would the price come down, because then when you have that bigger market, you get investment in technology and stuff happens, or is it the fundamentals are such that you just couldn't do it?
My numbers are after the technology gains.
Right.
Those numbers I just gave you are after flowing through those technology gains. So look, I think it's so important to have transparent numbers on this stuff. So every single number I've just given you, there is a model on our website how we got to that number, and this is why this is why I kind of make such a big point about this, because if you want to go into my model and say, oh well, I disagree, and the reason I disagree is because I don't think your electrolyzers are going to cost $5,000 a kilowatt. I think they're going to cost $1,000 a kilowatt. Then great, we've got a point to debate. But if your answer is no, I'm still going to win through lobbying, I don't really have much to talk about with you.
No, I mean that is fascinating. It reminds me of a paper I read by Sir David McKay, I think, on sustainability without the hot air, where he went through the numbers of actually going renewable and making certain assumptions like what you can get from tidal by saying, okay, let's just take the cross-sectional area of the English Channel. Let's assume you could capture all of that. Just big level numbers, and it shows you where are the bounds of reality in this, and your solution has to lie somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And, I just want to say two things on that, because there's a danger on a call like this that I come across as some kind of, fossil fuel apologist. Our industry does have to change. We do have to take out CO2 from our industry. We do need renewables as part of this, mix. They do 20% of the decarbonisation, as I said. We need to get 40% of our grids towards renewables by 2050. But they're not the whole solution. And we've got to model this. It's got to be based on numbers. And I think, David Mackey is one of my heroes for this. We're trying to continue what, the great work he started on this of just putting numbers to how we're going to do a transition.